Assessing data and reports. First, you need to know how to sync. So enter your username and password and tap Sync, or if you're already logged in, you can use the double arrow icon at the bottom of the screen. Tap that and that will sync also. Every time a user logs out, the device will also sync. If it's been longer than 20 minutes since a password was entered, the user will be prompted to enter the password in order to sync or log out. To access reports, you'll go to www.mclasshome.com. You'll type your username and password and enter mCLASS Home. Type in your username and password, and this will bring you to the mCLASS homepage. This home screen is the main portal for mCLASS Home. Return to this screen by tapping Home at the top right of any web reports. Notice your sync status. You can review your sync status every time you log in. Verify that the date and time of the last sync are correct to ensure you are viewing your most current assessment data. To access web reports, click Enter in the box with the Reading 3D icon. If you are a teacher with access to only one class or group, you do not need to select a class. The names of the students in your class are on the report. If you are a teacher with access to multiple groups or classes, tap the class name to select the class you want to view. If you're an administrator with access to special programs or multiple districts, tap the district or school name to select the class you want to view. The class summary displays students in a teacher's class or grade. If a teacher teaches multiple grades, students are separated by grade. Score information is divided into two sections, Dibbles and Reading 3D. The Dibbles data are displayed across 4 columns: composite score at beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year, and progress monitoring. Click the printer icon to print the report. The question button links to context-sensitive information about the screen the user is viewing. Show key to the right of the screen. This will reveal a key for all the symbols that are used on this page. The next slide will go into more detail. Notice the blue rectangle at the top right of the page. Now what? This links to the Item Level Advisor, Small Group Advisor, and Home Connect letters that we're going to talk about in the next couple slides. The key provides an explanation of the icons used in the reports. The Progress Monitoring History Trend line displays once there is a progress monitoring score for a measure. Trend lines display progress monitoring results if multiple results exist. Results are shown as either above or below the trend line so you can easily see a student's progress. If multiple progress monitoring measures were assessed during the current school year, the measure column displays 2 gray triangles. If you click the Hide key, this closes the pop-up window. Here we're going to talk about the composite score. The composite score determines the student's score level and likely need for support. Green is at or above benchmark, likely to need core instruction. Yellow is below benchmark or likely to need strategic support. You also have red. This indicates that students are well below benchmark. They are likely to need intensive support. The composite score is the best overall estimate of the student's reading proficiency. A student with a green circle is on track. The odds are in that student's favor of reaching later important reading outcomes. The student with a yellow or red circle is not on track. The odds of reaching later important reading outcomes are not in that student's favor. Frequent progress monitoring of students whose composite score is red or yellow is required in order to ensure adequate progress. These students may require increased or modified instructional support to reach instructional goals. A gray circle indicates the assessment has not been started. A pause button means that the assessment is incomplete. Hover your mouse over a colored circle to view the composite score number pop up. This screen shows you how the composite score is calculated. The mobile device automatically calculates the composite score for a student. While it is good to know how the score is created, teachers using mCLASS Dibbles do not need to memorize these formulas. To see how the composite score is calculated for grade levels and times of the year not shown here, go to dibbles.org. There are cut points for the composite scores at each grade level and time of year. The TRC reading level. The reading level indicates the student's final instructional level reached during the TRC assessment. The superscript F or N indicates whether the level was achieved on a fiction or a nonfiction text. The color of the letter corresponds to the benchmark goals for that grade and time of the year. Red is far below proficient, yellow is below proficient, green is proficient, blue is above proficient. Clicking on the tabs BOY, MOY, EOY will move you to that time of year. The time of year view displays information across several columns: student name, the selected benchmark, time of year, followed by columns for all Dibbles next, and reading 3D measures available for the students during that displayed time of year. Under the time of year header, the color-coded circles represent the composite score. A pause symbol displays if Dibbles submeasures need to be completed before the measure result can be calculated, or if the TRC assessment was paused. Use the student name list to navigate to the student summary for each child. Tap a score to view the probe detail for that measure. To change classes or groups, tap the class name at the top of the page. Tap the summary to return to the class summary. To view progress monitoring web reports, the class summary displays progress monitoring activity within the last 6 weeks. The progress monitoring column has 2 subcolumns, trend and measure. Trend shows up to 3 of the most recent progress monitoring results since the previous benchmark display along the trend line. Please remember, the trend line is an iconic representation, not a realistic depiction of a student's progress monitoring graph. Points above or below the trend line are approximate, not relative to the line itself. Measure. The abbreviation for the progress monitoring measure that has been assessed most recently displays. If you tap a trend line, you will view the progress monitoring history graph for each student. This is what the progress monitoring history looks like. You should notice the students' progress monitoring scores in nonsense word fluency, correct letter sounds have increased since beginning of the year. The most recent score is above the aim line. If a student scores above the aim line 3 or more consecutive times, those points are outlined in green. If a student scores below the aim line 3 or more consecutive times, those points are outlined in red, and a change in instruction should occur. Earlier, we talked about the Now What tools. These are going to be very helpful to classroom teachers. First, you have your Home Connect letters. Then we're going to talk about your item level advisor, and then your small group advisor. Home Connect letters are a great resource for parents. These are to be printed and sent home to each parent after each benchmark window. These letters provide parents with a detailed summary of their child's reading abilities in parent-friendly language. The graphics of the score bar and Running Man make a great visual for parents to see just how close their child is to their benchmark goal. These letters are available in English and in Spanish. The Item Level Advisor is a tool that analyzes a student's response for a particular measure. It provides teachers with a description about the errors the student continues to make. If you click on Suggested Activities, this will take you to some activities to do with the students. These activities are very detailed, and best part is most of the work is done for you. By clicking on the Small Group Advisor, you will come to a screen that looks like this. The Small Group Advisor is another tool that teachers are going to love. At the top, you can choose what measures you want the device to use when grouping students for that time of the year. You most likely want to choose the most recent. Click Group, and now your students are grouped together by their skill-based needs. Click Tidy, and it will combine your groups so that you have fewer groups. You can also physically move students into certain groups. In the right corner of each square, you see a gray box. Click on that, and you will have ready-made lesson plans for the students in these groups. Item Level Advisor and Small Group Advisor are some great tools for teachers to use to help strengthen their instruction.